Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel where we have got another in-depth formation guide, where today we're going to be taking a look at the 4-1-2-1-2 now and seeing whether it is a meta formation this year in FIFA. So if you do enjoy these videos, do drop a thumbs up, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel and find these videos very useful. So going into this 4-1-2-1-2 now starting off with a good positive. It's obviously got a lot of good passing options. You can see highlighted all these very colourful triangles, how many good passing options we've got, how close everyone is. I think that's the big thing with this 4-1-2-1-2 narrow formation, is just how close everybody is. You can see that sort of the gaps between everyone is very close, and it's very easy to kind of build your way up from the back. You know, you're never going to have to make too many strenuous passes to find someone in your team. It's a very easy way to build up from the back. It's very simple, and you don't have to make too many difficult passes because everybody is so close together and links up so well. However, the negative of that is the fact that we have no width, as highlighted. You can see the only sort of width that we've got is our two fullbacks. You know, they're the only players that can get forward and create any sort of width, and width is important in FIFA. It's important to have at least the option to have that width, because it can stretch your opponent's midfield, because you might have to take some of his midfielders out there to cover some of that space. But in this formation, you know, the only width comes from the fullbacks, which is a positive and a negative in itself, because if the fullbacks do go forwards, obviously that means attacking wise you're going to be a lot better off. You're going to have more options. But you know, if you do turn the ball over, now if the guy's playing wingers, you've obviously got that massive space in behind. So it does create its own problems in itself, having that lack of width, by having sort of no wingers or no attacking midfielders that play out wide like the 4-2-3-1. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going into some games. You're going to see these are the tactics that we're going to be going into these games with, and then we're going to show the gameplay and some of the analysis and how the games went, and then after that is what they're going to be the tactics that we eventually settled on that were best for this formation. So going into it to begin with, this what I think is going to be best for this formation. Defensive style, I'm always going to go with balanced. I think, you know, going pressure on heavy touch is a possibility. If you like to play a little bit more aggressive than playing on heavy touch, but it is going to lead to you getting some more counter attacks. So I recommend probably staying on the balanced is best. Defensively, I'm going to stay on full width. I'm going to go down to full width. Normally I like to play on sort of 5 or 6, but I'm going to stay on 4 because this formation is already quite narrow. So I think we're going to stick with what works with the formation. We're not going to try and make it too narrow, because then obviously that's just ridiculous. If we play on like 1 narrow, you know, everybody's going to be holding hands stood next to each other. But we don't want to go too wide, obviously, because then it's going to start creating its problems in the midfield. We might have a little bit more look out wide because some of our players are going to be out wider. However, obviously, if we go too wide, it's going to create too many holes in that midfield for the guys to just pass through very easily. Depth-wise, I'm going to stay on 6. It's typically what I like to play on. With my recommended formations anyway, I like to play on around 6 because I don't want to stay too deep, because then it makes it very difficult to get out, and you don't want to go too high because then obviously you're going to leave lots of space in behind. A lot of people like to play counter-attack in this FIFA, so I'm going to stay on about 6. It still allows us to get some pressure on the front foot, which is how I like to play. Offensively, I'm going to try possession. I think this formation, you can see, as highlighted before, there's a lot of good little passing triangles. Everyone's very close together, close knitted together. So I think possession might work out quite well with this formation. As I said, everybody's already pretty close together, so I think possession is probably going to be a good way to go. The width on offensive, as I say, I'm going to keep it on about 4. I don't want to be too narrow or too wide. Players in the box, keep it on standard as 5. I never really tinker with this too much because I'm not one to cross the ball. This is where sometimes this can be forgotten. The players in the box is only really relevant if you're going to cross the ball. If you never cross the ball or never go down to the byline and look for cutbacks, this is irrelevant. You know, if you're someone that just plays up through the middle, strictly through the middle, you know, players in the box then is completely irrelevant to you. So this is kind of down to what your play style is. Are you someone that plays down the wings? Are you someone that looks for cutbacks? And but for me, it's kind of, I like to keep it standard. It's not something I like to really tinker with too much. And then corners, keep on 3 as standard, because sometimes I have a few corner routines that I try, and then free kicks 1 because I don't really run any free kick routines. Now going into the instructions, I'm gonna try them on balanced. My 2 fullbacks, I'm gonna try them on balanced and see how that goes. I'm gonna see, because I want to have a little bit of width in this team, so I'm gonna see if playing on balanced how exposed we are in the wings. So I'm just going to try it on balance, and obviously I'd always play on overlap. Fabinho, we've got cover centre, cut passing lanes and stay back while attacking, pretty standard. I've actually, this time around, I've left the 2 wide players, Firmino and Pogba, on cover wing. Everything else is balanced because I want them to get forward, because Firmino and Pogba are quite attacking sort of central midfielders. I want to utilise what their strengths are, so I don't want to have any of them on stay back while attacking. If you're playing this formation and one of your centre mids is quite defensive, then maybe have that defensive midfielder on stay back. Because my two midfielders are quite attacking, I've got them on balance. But covering the wing, because I want them to try and help if the two fullbacks are getting forwards. I want them to at least help out a little bit on the wing. I'm going to try out cover wing. It's not something I ever really play with, cover wing. So I'm going to try it out in this formation because we don't have any width out there and see how it goes. Lacazette we've got on basics pretty much and just stay forward because I want him to be able to link up with the two strikers. And the two strikers are on stay central and getting behind. Obviously you've got two quick strikers, so I want them to get in behind the defence and staying central. You could try playing. You could try them on drifting wide and creating a little bit of width that way. With Lacazette staying forward, it might mean that this formation in attack almost kind of becomes a little bit of a 4-3-3. If those two wide players go wide and Lacazette goes up through the middle, you could try playing drift wide, but I'm going to play stay central. It just suits my play style. So let's go and see how we got on with this formation. One of the things that we wanted to experiment with was obviously going forwards in the attack, and you can see this time around Semedo up that right hand side. You can see some of the big open green space that he's got to run into, but you can see the big red space behind him that now he's left. So if we got tackled here or turned over the ball, the big problem is that obviously easy counter attack, because if he's playing with a set of wingers, he's got that easy space in behind. This time around, fortunately, we do get the ball off to Semedo, and he does make the pass forwards. He does find Hulk, and unfortunately Hulk takes a really weird shot and doesn't score there. And this is one of the advantages that time around we were playing on balance, so we were letting our fullbacks go forward. Now this time around, you can see how perfectly our team is set up in that 4-1-2-1-2. You can see the two strikers, the two midfielders, Fabinho sat a little bit deeper, and then that back four, not quite a straight line, but it's about as good as you'll get in FIFA. But you can see this time around, we're playing on stay back while attacking in this clip, and you can see the importance of playing stay back while attacking, because if Luca Dean is a little bit higher, if he's playing balanced, he's maybe sort of on that halfway line. And this ball that eventually you can see does get played through, he manages to cut it out very, very easily, sets us away on a little bit of a counter-attack, and now we've got possession of the ball. So we don't want to run too far up the pitch. We don't want to have, that's kind of the disadvantage of playing on balanced, because you don't obviously have sometimes that protection. Now this is one of the biggest problems that I found with cover wing. This is why I don't ever use cover wing too much. The biggest problem with playing cover wing, especially if you're playing like with your two centre midfielders, you can see in this clip here how high up the pitch. You can see we've highlighted Pogba and Firmino. Playing cover wing, they almost act, as I said, they almost act as wingers. You actually see at the very top of the screen how wide Mane is. He's supposed to be playing as a striker. You can just see how, like, this is not, how does this formation look like a 4-1-2-1-2? I think sometimes playing on that cover wing, it can just really distort everything. Mane looks like he's playing like a very, very wide left winger. Lacazette's now as the striker. Hulk is a really wide right midfielder, which is very odd. And this formation is just very skewed. It just doesn't work. And you can see how high Pogba, Fabinho and Firmino are. You can see the big red space, and you can see on the mini-map just that guy in the middle that's just to the left of the box, how open it is. If we turn this ball over, you can see how much space he's got to counter-attack. So that's why playing cover wing is something I don't think you should ever really do. I think you should always try and play cover centre and just let your wide players try and defend for you. But in this formation, we obviously don't have the wide players, so we're just trying it out, trying the cover wing. But you can see from what happens that we do eventually turn the ball over with Fabinho, and then just one straight ball through the middle of our defence. Yeah, Van Dijk should tackle him there, but that's not the problem. The problem was that big one straight ball, because everybody's so high up the pitch, really skewed us. This is another big problem that I found with this formation. You can see we're chipping the ball out to Semedo, and this guy's playing a very good formation, 4-2-3-1, which I think is arguably the best formation in the game this year. You can see perfectly his three cams there. I think he's got Dembele, Bale, and I'm not sure who else he had, but you can see his three cams, and you can see our three midfielders on the red triangle. If we chip that ball over into that space, we're in. We're now on a counter-attack because of his three cams that are up the pitch. But if he intercepts that ball, he's right into our back four. We're going to have to start defending with our back four, which is something you never really want to do in FIFA unless you absolutely need to. And you can see when we do eventually roll it on, we try it into Fabinho. It's a pretty poor pass from me in the end, and he does eventually get the goal. So it's just not the best formation to try and play out from the back from as well. But some positives going forwards, we did eventually find some good space. One of the positives with playing with this formation, especially playing with kind of two more attacking midfielders as those centre midfielders, this time around, at this point in the game, I'd now changed to cover centre for my midfielders, so they got more involved in the play going forwards, and now we were able to find passes like this one through to Mane, and able to utilise his pace and just chip it over his goal. So in the end, these are the tactics that I eventually did settle on. I eventually just changed the offensive style to balanced, and I moved the width actually up to 6, and the for the defensive and the offensive. They were the two big changes I eventually made to this team. And in terms of the instructions, I ended up moving the fullbacks onto stay back while attacking, because I think having them go up the pitch, whilst you're going to miss out now by having them stay back while attacking, just gives your back four a little bit more solidarity. As I said, you're going to miss out on having that width, but you're just going to need to play through the middle and just accept that that is the strength of the team. And you're just going to have to give the ball. You're just going to have to accept that you're going to give the ball out wide. And in terms of the centre midfielders, I just moved Pogba and Firmino to cover centre. Playing them on cover wing is just not the way to go. It just leaves too big a hole. And you saw in some examples just how he was just able to waltz through the middle of my pitch. Just one or two straight balls through the middle of the pitch, and he's straight at your back four. So playing cover centre is always the way you should go, especially in a narrow formation like this. You should just accept that width out there is just gone, and that you're just not gonna. There's nothing you can do to cover that width. You just need to accept that the width is your weakness and the middle of the pitch is your strength. I moved these guys to cover centre, and all of a sudden I started to dominate the midfield battle, and that's when I started to find some success with this formation. But overall, I don't think this is a formation that I would class as meta. At the end of the day, it wasn't the best formation. I think it was a little bit too much of me trying to fiddle around, trying to find something that worked. It wasn't natural. I didn't just play with it and it clicked. So I don't think this is a very good formation. So I would definitely say this is not a meta formation this year in FIFA 20. But that is it for the video, guys. So if you did enjoy this pretty in-depth guide of this 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, and if you do, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of these tactics and instructions, and whether it worked for you or it didn't work for you, or whether it did. Make sure you do drop a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. And that's all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.